Hi, I am Jean Van Divender, and I'm an AARP volunteer from North Carolina. This is AARP Volunteers Training Volunteers, Twitter 101. Let's get started. A lot of you may be wondering what Twitter is and how it's used. It often seems kind of complicated, like it's a whole different language. Well, there is some truth to that, but have no fear. The language is actually quite simple. In the first segment of this training, I'm going to share the basics of what Twitter is and how it works. In the second segment, you'll learn how to sign up and get started. In the third segment, you'll learn tips on how to use Twitter related to your role at AARP. Let's get started. Twitter is an online service that allows users to share messages on their computer or mobile devices known as tweets. Tweets are like public text messages, sometimes called updates, that can have up to 140 characters and can include pictures, videos, and links to things that you want to share. Twitter helps people discover and share information with friends, family, and colleagues. Twitter also lets you connect with people that are not already connected to you, who want to communicate with or influence. You can connect with your favorite TV personalities, businesses, news stations, AARP state offices, and most definitely your elected officials. For now, you may be asking, what in the world can I say in a tweet with 140 characters? Well, here are some examples. You could describe a photo. You could participate in an online discussion. How about lobbying your elected officials? Or maybe share an article with a brief commentary. Let people know what you're doing. Share your opinion on an issue. Make a comment about life. Say hello to a friend. Be creative. And the list goes on. As long as you stay within the 140 character limit, what you choose to share is up to you. Why would I want to tweet? Twitter has become a mainstream communication tool with hundreds of millions of users who send billions of tweets every week. You can communicate with friends, family, colleagues, or organizations, and you can also learn from and share your tweets with people you've never met. Now let's look a little more closely at how all this works. How does Twitter work? In order to understand how Twitter works, I'm going to share some terms that are important to learn. Now, these terms can take a little bit of stretching to understand, but the good news is there aren't many of them. Now let's look at the basics. Tweet. Each message you send out to your followers through Twitter is called a tweet. It works as a verb as well. You tweet a message. Tweets show up in your Twitter homepage and are public and searchable. Tweets can be up to 140 characters. Tweets can include pictures, video, and links to things you want to share. Remember, your tweets are public, so you don't want to tweet about anything that's private information. A good rule of thumb is, if you can put it on a sign in your front yard, then it's fit to tweet. Here's a pro tip. Know the lingo. You're tweeting, not twittering. And it's fun to call your friends on Twitter your tweeps. Now, let's look at the next term, follower. The basic relationship on Twitter is to follow another user to see his or her tweets on their Twitter timeline. Others can also follow you to see yours. The more followers you have there, the more they see your tweets. You can follow anyone on Twitter, including friends, family, organization, and celebrities. They can all follow you as well. Retweet. When a follower sees your tweet, they can share it with their followers by retweeting it. It's kind of like that old grade school game telephone, and if a lot of people retweet your original message, it can spread like wildfire. When you see a tweet that you think your followers would be interested in, click the retweet button. Twitter is all about sharing things that your followers might find useful, interesting, or entertaining. The more you share, the more likely others are to share your information. So on the most basic level, on Twitter, you write a tweet that your followers can read, and your followers can choose to share or retweet with their followers. There's more to it that we're about to learn, but that's the most basic interaction. Now let's dive in a little deeper. Twitter feed. A Twitter feed generally refers to a list of tweets. Your home page on Twitter features your tweets and that of those you follow. When you search for something on Twitter, the results show up in the form of a feed. Here are some examples of Twitter feeds. Twitter handle. Although this may sound confusing at first, once again, it's actually pretty simple. A Twitter handle always starts with an @ symbol followed by a Twitter username. Whenever you refer to another Twitter user in a tweet, you use their handle. Here's an example of a tweet about AARP. Hashtag. What is a hashtag? Are you ready for this? Drum roll, please. It's just a word with a hash sign before it. Why is it called a hashtag? Well, the hash refers to the fact that you put a pound sign or a hash in front of it. So you tag a keyword with a hash to create a hashtag. So why is it important to have hashtags? Hashtags or keywords are important so that Twitter users can talk about, follow, and learn about specific topics. Here is an example of a tweet that uses a hashtag. Hashtags are also searchable, so you can learn about specific topics on Twitter. People can also follow specific hashtags to be updated whenever someone uses that hashtag. Here's an example of what happens when you search for a hashtag. Let's look at search results for the hashtag long-term care. These tweets all relate to long-term care, and the writer of the tweets puts the hashtag long-term care in them so others would find them when they searched for long-term care. These terms are available in the Twitter Terms handout. Please review and become familiar with these terms before moving on to Section 2, signing up and getting started. Pro tip. Hashtags can be common words like your favorite sports teams, like Packers, or a business, like AARP. But sometimes they're just made up for fun, like Snowmageddon, to describe a large snowstorm. They're becoming more popular every day in ads and even on TV shows where they often appear in the lower right-hand corner of your screen so you can watch and tweet at the same time and share your thoughts with others watching the same show or political speech. Signing up and getting started. Now that you know the basics, let's sign up and start using Twitter. How to join? Go to www.twitter.com. At the New to Twitter prompt, click on Sign Up. Type in your full name, your email address, and a unique password. You will then be taken to a welcome page where you choose a username. Some people use their names like Rebecca B. Kelly, or sometimes something personally identifiable or related to their personal interests like football fan or try again. Your username is called your Twitter handle. Although you can change it later, you want to pick something that you like. If someone else is using a handle that you type in, Twitter won't accept it. Everyone has to have a unique handle. I would suggest that you leave the following questions blank or unchecked for privacy and protection reasons. Keep me signed in on this computer. Tailor Twitter based on my recent website visits. Now click Create My Account. Great job! You're now an official Twitter user, but there are still a few more steps. Twitter now tries to help you set up your profile. Now click Next. Twitter now encourages you to follow 5 accounts. If you search AARP, you can discover many AARP-related accounts to follow. We recommend that you follow the program that you're involved in at AARP and a staff and your fellow volunteers related to that program. That way, you can keep up to date and stay in contact. Here are some other examples of how to engage with AARP on Twitter. Make sure to follow Create the Good at Create the Good. You can follow AARP at AARP. Make sure to follow Life Reimagined at Life Reimagined and follow Nancy Lamond at Nancy Lamond. If you're taking this training right now with a group of fellow volunteers, pause the video and take time to follow the program staff and the volunteers taking the training with you. This will get you off to a good start with a group of people following you and people that you're following. Also, make sure to follow the Twitter account for the AARP program that you're a participant in. Twitter then asks you to find 5 more accounts to follow by searching for them by category. Go ahead and find 5 more accounts to follow. Next, Twitter asks you if you want to see your friends that are on Twitter by connecting an email account. We recommend that you skip this section because it could lead you to following too many people before you get your own account in order. Pro tip: make sure you have a profile photo and bio before you follow too many accounts. Twitter users decide if they want to follow you based on if you are a real person. A real person in Twitter changes their egg picture into a real picture. Once you're in your account, you'll be able to find and follow as many accounts as you like. Pro tip: if you're looking to follow someone on Twitter, but you just can't find them, turn to Google. Their search engine is so powerful, you can just type in President Obama on Twitter or Senator Kirk on Twitter, and Google will show you their handle. Now it's time to add your photo and complete your bio. To start, it's good to pick a simple headshot of yourself for your photo. You can change your photo at any time. Once you start forming a personality on Twitter, you may want to use a photo that reflects that personality. Here are some examples of photos used to represent accounts on Twitter. Now we'll look at writing your bio. You have 160 characters to use in the bio section. How you draft your bio depends on how you want to be represented on Twitter. Sometimes bios are professionally focused. Sometimes bios are personal. Often on Twitter, bios include both personal and professional information. Here are some examples of Twitter bios based on the focus of the Twitter user. Look closely at these examples and come up with a bio that works for you. You are now taken to your Twitter homepage. Let's look at what's there. On the left-hand column, you see tweets. This is the collection of tweets you have sent out. You're new, so you probably won't see any yet. Following. This tab takes you to a list of the accounts you are following on Twitter. Followers. This tab shows you the accounts that follow you on Twitter. Beneath these items is the place where you enter tweets. Before we go any further, how about composing your first tweet? You could say something like, "Hello world, today is my first day on Twitter." Here are some other ideas for your first tweet. Continuing on the left side, you have suggestions of who to follow and a list of hashtags that are trending. Moving to the right side of the screen, you find your main Twitter feed. This is where you find your tweets and retweets, and the tweets and retweets of the accounts you follow. Pro tip: we do not recommend connecting your Twitter account to Facebook. Twitter is a great space for sharing a lot of posts, but Facebook users do not usually post as much. You would overwhelm your friends with posts if you connect your Twitter account to Facebook. We do not recommend using this button. Tips on using Twitter for your role at AARP. No matter what your passion is at AARP, from the Volunteer Leadership Institute to tax aid to driver safety to advocacy and Experience Corps, you can help amplify the work that we are doing together on Twitter in many different ways. Here are some other tips on how to use Twitter related to your program. 1. You can follow the program you're involved in at AARP and retweet messages to your friends and family, as well as keep up to date on the latest news, opportunities, and recruitment efforts. 2. You can follow your elected officials and thank them when they take a position that you have worked on, or let them know that you're disappointed in them if they didn't. You can also lobby them up to the second that a vote is taken. Many check their Twitter accounts on their phones, even on the floor. 3. You can connect with staff and volunteers in your home state or across the country. There are hundreds of AARP staff and volunteers already interacting on Twitter. Check out hashtag AARPVOLS and be sure to use this hashtag in your own tweets. Looking forward to connecting with you on Twitter. Remember to find interesting things to follow and tweet often. Thanks so much for watching this training video. Tune in next time for more volunteers training volunteers.